Hey everybody, it's Kyle. So yesterday I was talking to a good friend of mine, Canute. It's a good name, isn't it? Canute. And he shared with me something I had never heard before. And what he shared with me made sense, and I want to tell you how it can affect us as parents with kids on the spectrum. So he said that, people like to climb Mount Everest, and generally when they do, they hire these local guides called Sherpas. I'm sure this is not new information to you. And the Sherpas guide them to the top of the mountain. And climbing Mount Everest, from what I understand, is not easy. As a matter of fact, it's really hard. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people die when they do this. It's really risky. Therefore, that's why they have these Sherpas, to really guide them and give them advice and counsel as they're going up the mountain. But what I'd never heard before that Canute told me yesterday was that generally when they get to the top, they kind of let their Sherpas go. And they say, I've made it to the top. And then he said something really interesting. He said, did you know that most of the deaths that happen on Mount Everest happen on the way down, after they've let go of their guides, their Sherpas? And this got me to thinking a little bit about our family and how, there was a time when we were on this really serious autism roller coaster. I mean, I'll never forget the day that I coaxed my son, he was probably 6 at the time, into finally kind of mouthing or barely saying the words, I love you, to his mom. And I mean, my wife and I, our heads exploded. And we were at the top of this autism roller coaster. It was an exhilarating experience. I'm sure it's like being on the top of Everest. And, we're up there and we just can't believe how excited and happy we are from this event. And then less than a week later, he's kicking holes in walls, smashing his head through glass, and we're down at the bottom we're riding this horribly down roller coaster, and we're down at the very bottom. And then, when he turned, I think, 9 years old, we finally potty trained him. And we were at the very top of the autism roller coaster, right? And, 2 days later, he made a violent run at me and tried to hurt my wife and I. And you may experience this too. We've got some, a family I was talking to just a few days ago said they feel like in their home that the family's in an inner tube, and their son, who's I think 5 on the autism spectrum, is driving a speedboat and pulling them all over the lake, and they have no control, and he's just running their family. And every time they start pulling themselves in towards him a little bit to get some sort of control, he spins out and they sling and fly off the inner tube, into the lake. And she said, it's just, we feel like we don't have any control. And it got me to thinking about how my wife and I were on this autism roller coaster for years, and the problems it caused for us, and how I wish, and once we started to really take the time to work when it was good, that's the time to have conversations with your wife or spouse, or with yourself, that says, I know the next meltdown is coming, the next tough event is on its way. How can I prepare myself to serve my child and my family in the best way possible? Just because we're at the top of Mount Everest doesn't mean we just release our guides. I know there's a lot of families, and I've talked to them, who have said when things are going good, they just kind of escape and sit back and try to take a break and relax and avoid any confrontation. And hoping, I guess, is the key word. It's like being on top of Mount Everest and hoping you can get down the other side without dying. Hope really isn't a great strategy for working with and loving and caring for our kids that are on the autism spectrum. So I challenge you that if things are good, especially if you haven't hit puberty yet, puberty smacks these kids. Yesterday a lady PM'd me on Facebook, and she said, "Help, my 11-year-old daughter has started to scream at us and, say things like, 'I hate you,' and all these things that sure do seem like they're associated with puberty." And my son went through a very difficult time too when it came to puberty, and a lot of families we've worked with have seen that time in our kids' lives become difficult. So if your strategy is to hope it'll get better, and you're on the autism roller coaster, there's extremely high highs where you're really happy, and then you have really difficult times, we want to help you. We want to flatten out those low times. We can teach you how to manage your kids in a way that best serves them and your family and connects you and your spouse together a whole lot better. So we want that for you. That's what we have. We have a happy family. We want you to feel that. So let us know how we can help. Have a great day. Hopefully that's been helpful. Get yourself a guide. Get yourself a Sherpa to help you down the mountain. Don't die. All right. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.